Hello dear students, welcome to another episode of this educational program which is intended for students of grade 12. In this lesson, we're going to revise two important grammar points from Module 2, Unit 4. First, let's take a short break, then we'll be right back, so stay with us. Welcome back, dear students. In this lesson, we're going to revise two grammar points which are very important. So, at the end of this episode, you're going to learn how to give explanations by stating purpose, giving reasons, and linking cause and effect or cause and result. Also, you will be able to use relative pronouns accurately and confidently. So let's get started right away. First of all, when giving explanations, you sometimes need to give the purpose or to introduce the purpose of your actions. Okay? So have a look at the following picture. In this picture, you see a team of executives, and they look busy. Okay? Now, what is their purpose? Some of the answers that you can come up with is their purpose is to succeed. Their objective is to gross profit. Their aim is to sell more goods. Their goal is to improve their products. Their target is to be the best. Have you noticed that there is a certain pattern that repeats itself throughout all these sentences? Now let's take one sentence and study it closely. His purpose is to reach the top. Now, reaching the top is the part of the sentence in which the writer introduced the purpose. To introduce this purpose clause, we used the subordinator. We used this word, to. To reach the top is a subordinating clause in which we introduce the purpose. Now, try to underline the phrases expressing purpose. They should work together so as to come up with a successful business plan. Now notice that coming up or devising a successful business plan is their aim or their purpose. So this is the purpose. To introduce this purpose, we use the expression so as to. Sometimes, in order to give more emphasis or to give more stress on the purpose, we can use this clause at the beginning of the sentence. For example, we say, so as to come up with a successful business plan, they should work together. Again, I start this clause with the following expression, so as to. In the negative form, we use so as not to. Okay? For example, here is a sentence that reads, we went along silently on tiptoe so as not to annoy anyone. Great. So as not to is an expression that you need to remember. Here is another sentence expressing purpose. They are discussing their plan in order to avoid any difficulties. So avoiding difficulties is the purpose of the meeting where they are discussing the plan. Here is the purpose. What expression is used to express this purpose? The expression used here is in order to. Again, if you want to put some emphasis or stress on the purpose, you start with this part of the sentence. In order to avoid any difficulties, they are discussing their plan. And the expression used here is in order to. In the negative form, instead of saying in order to, we say in order not to. I agreed to her suggestion in order not to upset her. Sammy traveled to Australia to complete his high education. Now, the purpose here is his completion of his higher education. This is the purpose. To introduce this purpose, we use the subordinator to. Again, we can use this subordinator and also the clause that expresses purpose at the beginning of the sentence, and the sentence reads, to complete his education, Sami traveled to Australia. Right? Good. Now, which of the following expressions don't use the same grammatical pattern? She works hard to gain more money. He ran so as to catch the bus. She drove fast in order to be on time. Why don't you start out early so that you don't have to hurry? Come on, it's so easy. This is the sentence that uses a grammatically different pattern, okay? So that you don't have to hurry. In the first, second, and third sentences, we use the expression followed by a base form of the verb. So we have in order to, and after it we use the verb, an infinitive without to. We say in order to go. Okay? So go here is the infinitive without to. Also, we use to followed by the base form of the verb, and also so as to followed by the base form of the verb. Okay? So these three expressions are similar in terms of form or use. Okay? So in order to followed by a purpose, and the purpose starts with a verb in the infinitive. However, with so that, which is another expression that we use to introduce a purpose, but it is used differently. After so that, we use a clause, and clause means a subject and a verb. Now, the verb we sometimes use a modal auxiliary with so that. Okay? Have a look at the following structure. We use so that, followed by a subject, and then we use a modal auxiliary, can or will, plus verb. And this is when we talk about a sentence that is in the present or future time. For example, I've come here so that we can talk. We can talk now, we can talk later. That's my purpose, why I am here. All right? So that is a purpose which is in the present or future. Here is another example. I will give you a key so that you can get into the office at any time. How about if I want to talk about the past? So you use so that followed by a subject and could or would plus a verb. Okay? For example, he spoke quietly. He spoke quietly yesterday. The verb here is in the past. So that nobody could hear him. Another example, I left the note on the pillow so that he could find it. So notice that these two sentences are in the past. That's why after so that I use could instead of can, which is used in the present. Okay, now let's move and talk about giving explanations in terms of providing reasons. Okay? So if you want to give a reason, like in this sentence, we need to prepare more food because there are more guests to come. The expression used here to introduce your reason is because. Because can be used at the beginning of the sentence, and the sentence reads, because there are more guests to come, we need to prepare more food. Now remember, this is very important because connects two sentences, which means that each sentence has a subject and a verb. With because of, we should always use a noun. Okay? So here is the difference between because and because of, which are shown in the two examples here. The picnic was cancelled because it was raining. Because it is the subject, was raining is the verb in the past continuous form. In sentence 2, the picnic was cancelled because of the rain. The rain here is a noun. Okay? Now let's practice with using because and because of. some people moved to greener areas, space, they wanted to survive. Now, do you think I should use because or because of here? Wait a minute, we need to study the sentence closely. After the space, we have they, and then wanted. We have a subject and a verb. And if you remember very well from what I said, we use because before a clause. Okay? So some people moved to greener areas because they wanted to survive. In sentence 2, he couldn't sleep, space, the crying baby. The crying baby is a noun phrase, and the noun phrase is formed by an article, the, crying, which is here a gerund, and it functions as an adjective describing this baby. The baby is the head noun. So he couldn't sleep because of the baby, because of the crying baby. Right, again, it's time for you to further practice this pattern. So do you use because or because of to complete the following sentence? Space, the traffic. He arrived late to the party. Excellent job. We should use because of. And the simple reason is that the traffic is a noun. So we use because of the traffic. Right, in the next sentence, he couldn't sleep, space, the baby was crying. He couldn't sleep because the baby was crying. The baby here is a subject to the verb was crying. Okay, so that's why we should use because. Good, now let's talk about linking action with result or linking action with an effect. We use the following words and phrases to link actions with results. We use so, followed by a clause, subject and a verb. We could use be the cause of, followed by a noun. It's possible also to express action and result with the following expression, with the result that, followed by a subject and a verb, and also lead to, followed by a noun. Okay, so let's take them one by one right now. First, so, followed by subject plus a verb. Here is a sentence. It was getting late, so everybody started to leave. It was getting late is the cause. The effect of this, or the result of it's getting late, is that everybody started to leave the party or the house. What is the word or the expression, the subordinator that I use here in order to link the two parts of the sentence? I use the word so. It was getting late, so everybody started to leave. Be the real cause of, followed by a noun. Here is a sentence that reads, human activities are often the real cause of desertification. Where is the cause in this sentence? Human activities. Good. This is the cause. What's the effect of human activities? And by human activities, we mean desertification, overgrazing, or overcultivation of the land. So human activities caused something or resulted in something. Desertification. That's the result. Excellent. What expression I use or is used in this sentence to link the cause with the result? Are often the result of. Okay? Now, notice here that be is used here in the plural. That's because the subject, human activities, is a subject that is in the plural form. So the verb be has to agree with the subject. For example, let's change the subject here. If the subject is deforestation, then deforestation is a singular noun. I should use is. Deforestation is often the real cause of desertification. Okay? With the result that, followed by a clause, farmers tend to overcultivate their land, with the result that the soil becomes poor. Farmers tend to overcultivate their land is the cause, and the result is the soil becomes poor. The expression used is with the result that. Lead to, followed by a noun. Now be careful with this word, because normally or very often lead to, or the word to is followed by a verb. But here is an expression, lead to, in which we use a noun instead of a verb. The example reads, there is no doubt that stress can lead to physical illness. So the cause is stress. There is no doubt that stress, pressure. And the result is physical illness. The expression here used to link the cause with the effect is can lead to. Time for practice. So here is a multiple choice exercise from A, B, C, and D. Choose the best answer. Sentence number 1, lack of vitamin, space, his illness, because, in order to, so that, or is the cause of. So here, lack of vitamin is a cause, his illness is the result. From all these expressions, which one is used to express an effect or is a result? Is the cause of. So lack of vitamin is the cause of his illness. Great. Second sentence, I need a drink, space, I am feeling thirsty. Because I'm feeling thirsty, because of I'm feeling thirsty, so that I'm feeling thirsty, or is the cause of I'm feeling thirsty. Here is someone who is giving an explanation why he needs a drink. And to introduce a reason, we use because. I didn't use because of, simply because after the space I have I am, a subject and a verb. And if you remember very well from what I said, because of follows or comes before a noun. Okay? And because is used before a clause. Next sentence, I closed the window, space, the wind couldn't get in. Now this is the purpose. The purpose for me, or the purpose that, because of which I closed the window, is that I don't want the wind to get in. So because, in order to, so that, or is the cause of. I closed the window so that the wind couldn't get in. Now notice that the verb here is closed. It's in the past. That's why I used the modal auxiliary couldn't and not can't, because the sentence is about past time. Now, next sentence, farmers use machinery, space, harvest their crops, because, in order to, so that, or is the cause of. Let's read the sentence again. Farmers use equipment, they use machinery, and the purpose is harvest their crops. Harvest is a verb. And from these different expressions, the only one that is followed by a base form of the verb is in order to. Farmers use machinery in order to harvest their crops. Another expression that could replace in order to is so as to. Farmers use machinery so as to harvest their crops, or to, simply. Farmers use machinery to harvest their crops. Next sentence reads, they are doing their best, space, protect the Amazon rainforest. Because, so as to, so that, can lead to. They are doing their best so as to protect the Amazon rainforest. Protect here is a base form of the verb. That's why I used so as to and not so that. The lecture was so interesting. All of the students paid attention. Now here, the expressions are so as to, due to, so, or in order to. The lecture, the lesson was interesting. The result of that is the students paid attention. So to express a result, we use so. Okay? Notice that before so we have a comma. Now, correct the underlined mistakes. He is studying mathematics in order that qualify for a better job. There are two mistakes. They are underlined, and we need to correct them. He is study. This is present continuous. So to express continuity, we need to use the ing form. So he is studying mathematics in order that. Now, this expression exists. We have the expression in order that, and we use it to introduce a purpose, and after in order that, we use a clause. But here in the sentence, we have qualify, which is a verb. So, to make the sentence more accurate, we need to make a slight change. And the change is here. We need to use the subordinator to. The complete sentence reads, he is studying mathematics in order to qualify for a better job. Right, here is another sentence. She learned typing in order to helping her husband with her work. After in order to, we need to use the base form of the verb. Remember that? Yes? So how can we change helping from a gerund into a base form? That's so easy, right? Let's delete the ing form at the end of the verb. So instead of saying helping, we should say help. She learned typing in order to help her husband with not her work, but rather with his work. Right. I want a shelf so that put my books in. After so that, I need to use a clause, a subject and a verb. But here I have a verb. So one way to make this sentence correct is to say, I want a shelf to put my books, or in order to put my books, or so as to put my books not in, but rather on. Okay? So I want a shelf so as to put my books on. I came back home because I had to take care of my parents. I came back home because. Okay? After because, we use subject and verb. After because of, we use a noun. Because I had to take care of mine parents, mine is a possessive pronoun. We don't need to use a possessive pronoun in this sentence because we have the noun parents. What we should use is a possessive adjective, my parents. Take care of my parents. Right, next sentence, I talked to him both for half an hour so as to having a thorough understanding of the problem. I talked to him, and we have both. Both means plural, two things, okay, or two persons. So I talked to them for half an hour so as to have a thorough understanding of the problem. I've just bought a game console for give it to my daughter. We can say for giving it, but here the word that is wrong is for. We need to make the change there. So the right way to correct this sentence is to say, I've just bought a game console to give it to my daughter for not his birthday, but for her birthday. Jamie had an afternoon nap in order to not fall asleep at the concert later. So the mistake here is not underlined, but try to guess it. Okay, so this is an extra challenge for you, right? Okay, so in order to not, is this correct? No, it's not. Instead of this wrong expression, we can use in order not to. So Jamie had an afternoon nap. Do we say afternoon nap? Here we have an article and then a noun that starts with a vowel. We should say Jamie had an afternoon nap in order not to fall asleep at the concert later. He is staying on in Australia since 9 more months. Now here I'm talking about a period of time rather than a fixed point in time. So he's staying on in Australia for 9 more months, so that he could. Could is used in a sentence that expresses, that is in the past. But here the sentence is in the present. To make this correct, we say, so that he can perfect his English. Okay, time for multiple choice right now. So from A, B, C, and D, try to choose the best answer. I need a screwdriver in order that remove so that, because, or to. Remove the back cover of the watch. The correct answer is to. I need a screwdriver to remove the back cover of the watch. Next sentence. I stopped jogging. You could catch up. In order to, so that, because, or can lead to. I'll give you some time to think. I stopped jogging. Great. So that you could catch up. Next sentence. He kept quiet, space, disturb anyone. In order to, so that, so as not to, or because. He kept quiet so as not to disturb anyone. We can replace this expression by saying in order not to disturb anyone. I entered Mr. Ahmed's office, space, I wished to talk to him. Here I want to introduce a reason, and the expression that should be used is because. Because I wished to talk to him, I entered his office. Space, oversleep, I set the alarm for 7 o'clock. So that, because, in order not to, or with the result that. Here I have a base form of the verb, oversleep. So the best expression from this list is, in order not to oversleep, I set the alarm for 7 o'clock. Accompany my wife to the doctor, I took a day off. Because, so that, to, or lead to. The answer is to accompany my wife, which means to go with my wife to the doctor, I took a day off. He went to France, learn French, because, so that, in order to, or so as to, or simply so as, right? So he went to France, and the answer is in order to learn French. That's that. We have the verb here, learn. That's why we should use in order to and not so that. Because is not correct, because I am not giving a reason here, and also because I don't have a subject and a verb. Okay, I simply have a base form of the verb. She gave up work so as to have more time with the children, so that have more time with the children, because, or in order that. Okay, give you some time to think. The right answer is so as to. Dear students, this lesson has come to an end. Thank you very much for your time and attention. I'll be looking forward to seeing you again very soon. Till then, take care. Goodbye.